Welcome to the 25th Jackie's Proof Animals Have Souls and Psychics show, produced through Passionate World Talk Radio, a subsidiary of Global Media Network. My website is JackieJonesHunt.com, JackieJonesHunt.com. And I welcome viewers or listeners' comments and questions. If you've listened to my show before, you will know I'm a psychical researcher, historian of spirituality, lecturer, and decades-long vegetarian for compassionate reasons, and author of 3 books, Proof Animals Have Souls, 500 Plus Celebrities Go Vegetarian, and Moses and Jesus the Shamans, Mediums. The latter, Moses and Jesus the Shamans, among many other things, reveals the politically orientated biblical mistranslations that went into the Bible condemning mediumship. Yet, it was an ancient tradition for the Hebrews and the ancient Jews to consult seers, prophets, judges, oracles, dream interpreters, to learn spiritual wisdom and predictive guidance. And such mistranslations from the Orthodox Church led to the 16th and 17th century witch hunts, and thousands of innocents were killed, murdered, burnt at the stake and tortured. It's even in our century caused some suspicion and fear of mediumship today. So I'm hoping that we can start to put these things right, and my book will clarify the mistranslations. I'd like to give you an introduction to Claire Maria Atkins, who's with me today. Claire is a medium. She lives in Suffolk in the south of England. She's 60. She's a mum to adult children. She formerly worked in retail in Selfridges in London in the UK. Claire does private sittings, and Claire is a medium and psychic artist. She paints and draws spirit guides, spirit people, and spirit animals. Claire also sensitively receives communications from plants and trees and pets. So I welcome Claire to the 25th Proof Animals Have Souls and Psychics show. And just before I ask her any questions, I'd just like to give you Claire's website, her email address. It'll be in the blog as well. Claire, with an I, Atkins 444 at yahoo.co.uk. So welcome, Claire. I'm pleased to be able to speak with you today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. Welcome. Hi.
Pleasure. Would you describe yourself both as a medium and as an animal communicator?
Yeah, of course, both. The animal communication developed later in my life, and it's become stronger. I've always seen spirit from very young. Actually, the animal communication happened in my 40s.
That's interesting. What motivates you in your work, Claire?
My pure love of spirit, my love of animals. I have a passion and a love for all animals. That love, I just look into their eyes, and even a living animal, and I understand what they're trying to say to me. It's like a telepathic communication.
That's lovely.
And it's developed from there. Yeah.
So what's
actually I hear them.
Okay, because that was the next question. How do you sense what animals wish to tell you? Do you sense it, see it, feel it? Is it like a voice in your head? I'm sure listeners would want to know how you feel or empathise with what an animal is trying to say to you.
Firstly, I usually look at a picture of the little pet.
Yes.
And then they start to communicate with me as I tune into the photo of them. Sometimes I need just a name, their name, And firstly, they show me pictures, like a film in my third eye.
Okay.
And then as that develops, they talk to me. They begin to talk to me, as we would talk to one another. That's how I hear them in my mind.
So it's a type of telepathy, then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So if we met an alien and they looked at you and you sensed what they were saying, then it would be the same thing as type of telepathy, where they're exuding their feelings and you're picking them up. So you do this with spirit animals, and you do this also with animals that are still in the physical body.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yes.
Just look into their eyes, and I can sense what they're feeling and what they're trying to say to me.
Yes, that's interesting. Well, I believe animals and our pets and so many other animals are innocent infants all their lives. They can't always look after themselves, and they're so desperately in need of our help. I read something today that the number of animals on this planet, half of them are homeless. So that's an incredible number. And I believe we meet our pets in the sleep state, and that the love link attracts us to them, and them to us, and that we're inseparable, and they are out of time, and time being a human construct, and they're out of space. And when we reunite in the sleep state or at physical death, I believe it will feel like 5 minutes apart, because they're out of time and out of space, and the important thing is that love link that draws you like a magnet to each other. And I believe animals, I'm glad you agree, because I was going to ask you about your thoughts on this. I believe animals are often more spiritually elevated than a lot of people. They give selflessly, and they're non-materialistic. Yes. And I think the utter devotion and love and loyalty that they give is absolutely incredible. You know, you could go from a millionaire mansion to a wigwam, and all the dog or pet or animal would want is to be at your side. They wouldn't be thinking, oh, well, this isn't nice enough. So
still be there, So pure, unconditional love.
Yes, I think so.
And no matter what you put them through, they're still there beside you.
I know. Amazing love that they give. And do you pick that love up when they come back?
Yeah, absolutely. It's constant. The constant loyalty and love from them. They never have any negative feelings or anger, or it's always pure love from them.
And that's really what I feel, that they're so much more spiritually elevated than so many people. So what's really taken you down the psychic art route now, from the mediumship where you do your one-to-one sittings and so on? You're now developing more and more on your psychic art route.
It happened quite randomly. I was in a mediumship circle, my first mentor, over 20 years ago.
Yes.
And I was giving a reading, and I did a quick doodle on a bit of paper.
Yes.
And my mentor said, you should definitely do more of that. And that's where it started. I started to practice and do more and more. And over 20 years, and my bond with my artist guide is absolutely 100% now. I actually hear him talking while I'm painting.
Oh, would you like to tell us a bit about your artist guide? That would be fascinating.
Yeah, he was an artist. I've actually got a book. Jeremiah Fuse. He was an artist in the 1700s.
Yes.
Charlestown, colonial artist in America.
And he works with you?
Yes. He's been with me right from the start.
And what do you feel his personality is like?
Oh, he's cheeky. He's always laughing and joking and full of life and happiness, and he's very interested in digital art. He wants to do all of that because obviously he didn't have that in his time.
What do you mean by digital art? Could you clarify?
You know, the digital art, done on the computer.
Yes. So he likes he wants to do that because he didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
interesting.
He wants to do that. Yeah. And every time, it's like a conversation while I'm painting. And I'm saying to him, "Oh God, I don't like this," and he says to me every time, "Just keep going, and it will turn out fine," and it always does.
And so, do you feel he guides and overshadows your work, or does he show you the finished product?
He takes over my body, guides my hand, and he talks to me at the same time. Yeah.
So it is a type of altered state of consciousness, and he's sort of overshadowing you while you sort of take a step back from yourself and watch yourself work.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
It's taken a long time to develop that bond.
How many years did that take?
20 years.
Do you meditate every day?
No, I don't.
Did you in the past?
I have done in the past when I started my first my first circle, but I tune in. I'm talking to my guides constantly every day, all day. So I'm tuned in virtually all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
does that drain your energies?
It used to, not now though. No,
and it's the same as healing. Often when you give healing, then you're uplifted yourself. They always say that they sort of stream you're the communicator or the channel, and they feed you as well. And when you give, you receive. Absolutely. So what are your beliefs or findings regarding animals in the spirit realms?
All animals have souls, and they all go to the light. I believe that. Every animal, from the tiniest animal, has a place in the light. And I believe some animals are earth angels, little earth angels. And my little dog, he's a little Yorkie, and he's a healing dog.
Yes.
And he's empathic.
Yes.
And the other day, he had his head. I was having a really stressful day. He placed his head on my foot.
Oh.
And the whole of my leg was buzzing, and warmth went up the whole of my body.
And that was him giving you healing?
As if he was healing me.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Oh.
And he knew, so he sensed that you were having a bad day. Well, I see these dogs with homeless people living on the street, and I think, did the dog choose that life to be a companion? I've seen emaciated people on the street with 16-year-old dogs, and they've been together since the dog's a puppy, and it brings tears to my eyes. We saw people like that at Christmas, and we ended up collecting clothes and learning about a soup kitchen and so on, and taking some blankets and cushions.
Them, though.
Pardon?
The love between them.
I know.
That dog is perfectly happy because he's loved, even though he's on the street.
I know. And I think all these shelters should take the dogs in, because all they have to do is buy one of these collapsible cages and put it next to the bed of the person who's coming to stay overnight in the shelter, and then the dog can sleep in the cage at the side of somebody, because so many of them say, there's very few places that take the man or woman and the dog. They just take the person and not the dog, so the person won't go in.
It's heartbreaking.
It is, and I thought all you have to do is get some collapsible cages and everybody's fine.
They're just happy to be with their parent, aren't they? They don't even ask for a bed, really, do they?
Exactly, and then the human parent, just wants their furry baby to be with them. So it's been another interesting discussion, and we're just coming towards the close, unfortunately. The time seems to fly when I chat with you, Claire. So perhaps we can talk again, and next time you could talk more about your sort of clairsentience with plants and animals animals, plants and trees. You were saying you sense what the plants and trees are communicating.
Yeah.
So that's a fascinating discussion that we can have in the future. So
I would love to.
That would be great. And I'd like to say goodbye to listeners and look forward to speaking next week.